What's going on, Legionnaires, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. If you're new to the channel, be sure to hit that sub button and hit that notification bell. Make sure you're not missing any of the content that we have coming out. Now, for this video, we're going to be diving into Infinite Frontier Superman issue number 29. Now, this is a two-part called The Golden Age, and we have writer Phillip Kennedy Johnson, penciler Phil Hester, and inker Eric Gapster. And with that being said, let's dive into this issue. Alright guys, so this issue picks us up in space, fighting some of these green space aliens. Jonathan and Clark are both just laying waste. And as they're sitting here fighting off this extraterrestrial threat, Jonathan Kent gives us some narration about the Golden Age, when every kid knows their parent is indestructible, infallible, immortal. We see them as gods. That trust makes kids fearless. With it, they know they can face any threat, climb any obstacle, and jump from any height, safe in the knowledge that if they ever overstep, there's always somebody there to catch them along the way. And as this fight is going on, we see the Star space station orbiting around what seems to be some kind of tear in space. And as our two Supermen continue to fight this alien threat, they end up overcoming them and throwing them back through the space tear where they initially came from. Now, this trust in parents that Jonathan is talking about, it drives fear away into the darkest corners to where sometimes it's almost forgotten. And in this happy time, no danger is great enough to take that away. And as Superman and Jonathan fly away from this is when we see Waller. And she's getting a text message from the Star team, letting her know that the data was confirmed and radiation from the breach negatively impacts Superman's energy output, but not Superboy's. And that the Singularity cannon failed to seal the breach. And before they go to do their second attempt, Amanda Waller tells them to stop, to hold off, because if Superman is vulnerable to whatever's in that breach, she wants to do more studying on it and find out why, and probably use it to her advantage sometime in the future. And this is when we pick up later that day, and we have the whole family sitting here watching TV, and as they're sitting here really just being a family, we're continuing getting the narration from Jonathan, letting us know that this golden age, it really is a wonderful time, but it can't last forever. Kids grow up, their fears grow with them. Little seeds sprout in the shadows, quietly whispering to them. And we see a second alien invasion coming out of the breach. And our Supermen jump into action. But this is when Jonathan sees something he never wanted to see. He was hoping he would never have to see. And that's one of these aliens hurting his father. And this scares Jonathan. It shows that he's not immortal. He's not indestructible. That he's somewhat human, vulnerable, mortal. And as things are getting out of hand, Amanda Waller tells them to seal the breach. And Superman, taking his hit, grabs these guys and throws them through the portal. Simultaneously, the Star Station seals the breach off. This is the day a child saw his parent stumble, and the world suddenly becomes uncertain. And then we pick up a little bit later with Jonathan and Clark both flying around, and before they go home, Superman throws a pine cone to John, telling him that he wants to play Coney Ball, a game that Jonathan had invented quite a while ago. For Clark and Jonathan's mother, though, this hasn't been such a long time, but for Jonathan, this is been quite a while. And Superman asks him if he wants to play, but he tells him that he doesn't even remember, that it's been so long for him. And sometimes Clark forgets this. You know, Jonathan was in the future. He was in the 31st century. And he's grown up so much since then, and it's really hard for Clark to really grasp the idea that his son is past the age now where he's gonna want to play these kind of games and bond with him on that level. And Superman tells him, you know, I know you're not a kid anymore. It's just been hard on them, thinking about all the time that they have lost with him. And Jonathan tells him, you know, I understand the time you guys lost, but I did see quite a bit of you when I was in the future. They tell so many tales and stories of you, and it was really hard for them because everybody looked to Jonathan to be the next Superman, to be the next individual to carry the mantle on, as if it were a job. And Jonathan hated this because he hated the idea of anybody just simply replacing Superman as if it's an easy task to do. Because at the end of the day, to Jonathan, Superman is his father. And this is where Jonathan starts to get very emotional. And tells his dad, like, you don't understand. And he tells him, you can't go. The next time there's a breach that opens up, you can't go. And this is when we see the Fortress of Solitude. And the computer is trying to figure out some kind of environmental radiological scan that's going on. And it contacts Superman, letting him know that there's an emergency situation that's imminent. And then we pick back up with the conversation that Clark and Jonathan were having. And Clark's telling him, like, what are you talking about? Like, everything's closed off. There's no threat anymore. What are you afraid of? And John tells him, you don't understand. Like, I was in the future. Everything you've done now, this is all history. I've seen every bit of it. Everything you've accomplished, every battle you've ever fought, and the day that you're going to die. And he lets him know that your time's almost over. And he can't stop it, and he is not ready to lose his father. And this is when Superman gets in contact with Kel-X, letting him know that the radiation scan near the interdimensional breach is complete. And the environmental radiation scan indicates that this was not the first interdimensional breach in the past 60 days. Scan indicate that there has been many. Most were insignificant size, but repeated crossings have made the breach unstable. And the first breach occurred inside the Star Labs orbital space station. And so they take off back into space, only to see a breach opened up. Because no matter what fear John has, Superman has a duty to the people of Earth. And from this breach comes the giant creature, much bigger than anything that they have faced thus far. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Personally, I really did enjoy this one. It was an issue that really was heartfelt. You know, it was a boy not ready to let go of his father, knowing that his father's time will be coming up, and he's not ready for it. He doesn't want it to be there yet. He wants to enjoy this little bit of time that he does have with his dad now. And you can only imagine having that amount of power and not being able to do anything to stop it. Knowing that this is inevitable, that your father will die, that you've seen it written in the pages of history. You've seen the statues raised in his honor. You've seen and heard the stories told to remember him. Now having him back, I can only imagine that it must be extremely difficult for Jonathan to want to share his father with the planet of Earth and let him be the savior that he needs to be. But yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you have not yet, please do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and until the next issue,